Hello, everybody. Welcome back on this beautiful day today, and I am here to show you another beautiful American made work of art pocket knife here. Guys, this is the Koenig Arius full size in polished Plexa titanium. This is a full titanium folding pocket knife with an M390 blade made in America, made by Koenig. I believe they are in Idaho near Chris Reeve, made of M390 the blade. This was made on May 29th, 2025, specifically for Blade Show 2025. The only way to get this knife would have been to wait in line at Blade Show Atlanta 2025 for a long time. Some people wait a couple days and then rush to the table, run to the table, and you could have found one of just a couple of these, the polished Plexa full-size Arius. What makes this so cool is this incredible finish, which is very similar to the machinist finish on the Fiel, by the way, on the Grimsmo Fiel, which is another knife that I have and I've made a video about. It's like a machinist finish, meaning it looks like it's not smoothed over, but it is. Because the machine did, first of all, the machine did such a good job, but then this is actually polished. You see on that little finger groove right there? Right there. See how it's polished? So this is not just a machinist finish. It's like machinist finish plus polish. To me, that's kind of how I break it down. And this is just a first impression of this knife. I'm just getting into using it. But wow, this thing is like a piece of jewelry. It's so beautiful. Also, the finish on the stonewash finish on the blade also really reminds me of the finish on the Chris Reeves. It feels like that soft stonewash finish. When I got my first Chris Reeve, that's when I was first like, wow, the blade literally feels like fabric. And this feels the same way. It has that same type of stonewash finish. You know, I know this design's been out for a while and there's a lot of new knives, but man, this thing is really growing on me. Just the absolute beauty of the shape and the way it works as well. The action, the blade shape. This blade for me, in my collection, this is like when I want to use a strider, but I want it having smoother action. Right? I want to be able to drop shut my strider. Okay. And flip it open. That's the Koenig for me. Strider is what I'm still taking out day to day. Like when I might get locked in a bathroom or something, I'm taking the Strider. But this Koenig is coming close, I feel. I feel like the Koenig is like a hard use knife still. It's not as slicey as the Roosevelt, but it's not as tough as the Strider either. Although this is an extremely tough knife. I'm not putting this down in any way. It's very close to the Strider. The Strider is just overbuilt, meaning overly thick handles, overly thick blade, and that has its downsides, but it has its upsides too. And what I'm saying is this is a great middle ground, I feel, for when I want a very strong knife with a hollow grind, so I get more strength in the blade against torsion. However, it's still slicey enough to do daily tasks. And this thing is so beautiful that it's absolutely museum worthy or collection worthy just to be in a case, but I am going to use this like all my knives. Knives that sit in the drawer are sad knives, guys. Let me just point out one thing that's very impressive about this. Do you see the distance between the lock bar and the body of the scale right there? That crack? Look how small the gap is right there. Wow, that is very impressive. I have dozens of knives that are high-end knives, and I've never seen a gap between the lock bar and the scale that thin. And then if you look up close, the pattern is perfectly continued on the lock bar in sequence. That's just a flex. This knife right here. This is all about the polished Plexa finish on this, guys. That's the unique part of this. Of course, there's a lot of Ariuses out now, but this is a very, very unique finish. There might only be 10 or 20 of these in existence, from what I know. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I don't think that they took more than 10 polished Plexa Ariuses to 2025 Blade Show. So I feel like maybe since the knife has been out so long that he's really just starting to push the limits with the finishes here. And wow, just a great, great, great job. What I will say that I notice is that what I'm not impressed by off the bat is the pivot screw here. It's just a little bit plain, and I mean, this one's nice. Don't get me wrong. That's this one is beautiful. However, the finish could be even nicer on this. The design's cool. The finish could be even nicer. The finish could be even nicer on the hardware. Is all I'm saying. I'll get it under the microscope soon. But I mean, compared to like Grimsmo, their hardware is like freaking art in comparison. Not putting this knife down overall, I'm just saying the hardware specifically, that could be elevated, or maybe this could be polished a bit differently, but it's still nice. You know, I see some machining marks in there. It could be polished maybe in a different way, but I'm not complaining. It's really minor. Really, really minor. The pocket clip could be moved back a little bit. I've seen other people's talking about that, but I kind of like the way when you put it into your pocket, it slides up that high, and then that sticks out of your pocket, you see? And I kind of like that. I like the way that looks. It's actually unbelievably gorgeous sticking out of your pocket. Like, look at that little piece. Like, what the heck is that? Looks incredible. And some people don't like the way that, you know, these lanyards loops are done, but I will be putting a lanyard on this. I use the lanyards on my knives. Why? Because I do not want to lose this knife when I'm walking or running if I'm using it. So I strap it and secure it to my person. I use a S-beaner on the end, a small stainless steel S-beaner onto a Kevlar rope and onto a carabiner on the other side. So I'll just show you the action real quick. So beautiful. The sound. Katana sound here. Hopefully you guys can are listening with some nice headphones. I've got the mic just a couple inches away from the knife here, so you can really hear it if you, yeah. This knife sounds great, feels great. Guys, let's be honest. There's nothing like a full titanium knife. That's a real knife, okay? When you put a full titanium knife in your hand and you hear that metal on metal, that action, ceramic on metal on metal on titanium on titanium on stainless steel, it's like you're unsheathing a katana every time you take this out. That's the feeling. By the way, the work on the blade is actually very impressive. The geometry. I've never saw this on videos, but the geometry is just beautiful. Okay, of course you have the side profile, draw point with a spear, draw point with a swedge up there, creating a spear point. You have a opening hole here. Finger choil here. This finger choil is smaller than other finger choils, but it works and allows you to get a forward grip like that. No worries. You see, that's the forward grip, and this is the reverse grip, similar to a strider. But the forward grip on the strider is the main grip. This is the secondary grip. Okay, but you can still get up on it, but definitely this is the primary. Okay, that's a little small difference to other knives. But the top of the blade too, beautiful. Flat. Okay, this is done flat on the top, so you have a completely flat surface for your thumb right there. There's a better way to see it. Flat, flat, and then it you know, has some contours there. See that contour on the top? Really beautiful. It's rounded. I'm just saying, there's a lot going on this blade. There's also a couple different finishes on the blade. Okay, there's your stonewash right here. There's a more raw finish here from the machining, more of a raw finish right here, and then there's like a satin finish right here. That's you know, two different finishes on the blade there. This uses a lock bar stabilizer, of course. The function of a lock bar stabilizer is to bring consistency and quality to the action, versus hand tuning every knife to completion. They can put a lock bar stabilizer in here and pretty much get it perfect on the first try. I kind of like how this is milled in here too, right? This is not a scale. Okay, this is not a scale. This is completely integrated, and it's just one piece right there. Gives you some grip. So the only way to get this open really is the flipper, by the way. You can, it's pretty hard to, you can't really, I mean, I guess you can thumb flick it with some practice, I guess, but I would just roll it out. Okay, roll it out or flip it out. That was on the detent there. There you go. Very, very smooth action, basically drops shut. You see, once it's here, basically drops shut. Very smooth. Overall, a beautiful knife, guys. I'll leave you with this. I'll leave you with that. I'll wrap it up. Man, I'm so impressed about that distance here, I'm telling you. Isn't that beautiful when it focuses? Hold on. You see that? That gap is so small. That is very impressive, guys. Very, very impressive. The milling here too, the cutout for the lock bar, it's called the lock bar relief cutout right here. It has some cool milling in there too. You hear it? I'll let you hear this knife too, some ASMR. Listen. These are carbon fiber tweezers. Don't worry. Do you hear the detail? Not trying to be an ASMR channel, but that gives you a pretty good idea of the precision in the manufacturing of this beautiful Koenig Arius in polished Plexa. Thank you very much, Koenig. They did not send this knife. I'm saying thank you very much for your craftsmanship, for making this, and for putting so much work into an object. It is highly appreciated, and I am just trying to share this level of craftsmanship with other people and have them understand that this even exists in America. People don't even know this is possible to make in America. It's not just Rolexes that you can buy that are beautiful. You don't need to spend $10,000 or $25,000 to get something that's beautiful. In fact, you can use something like this way more than a watch, and it will last. It might even last longer than some watches you buy for thousands and thousands of dollars. With that said, thanks for watching. Leave any comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.